This is the Commissioner meeting of March 13th, 2024 at 6 p.m. at the Sussex County Administrative Center, Commissioner Meeting Room, 1 Spring Street, Newton, New Jersey. Can I have a roll call, please?
Director Space?
Here.
Deputy Director Carney?
Here.
Commissioner DeGroot?
Here.
Commissioner Hayden is absent. Commissioner Schick?
Here.
Okay, moment of silence and salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, PL 1975, adequate notice as defined by Section 3D of Chapter 231, PL 1975, has been made by regular mail and email, such notice being submitted on January 7th, 2024, from the Administrative Center of the County of Sussex, located at 1 Spring Street, Newton, New Jersey, to the following: New Jersey Herald and Star Ledger, and is also posted on the bulletin board maintained in the Administrative Center for public announcements, and has been submitted to the Sussex County Clerk in compliance with said act. At this time, please mute all electronic devices. Okay. Number 5, approval of agenda. There are a few changes to tonight's agenda. First, item number 10 will be amended to include item A, consenting to the proposed Sussex Water Quality Plan Management, WQM Plan Amendment, which was tabled last meeting. Item number 11 will be tabled to next meeting. Under number 14, resolutions, we need to table items O and P to the next Commissioner meeting, 3/27/2024. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Okay, Deputy Director Carney makes the motion and Commissioner Schick seconds it. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain. Motion carries. Motion to approve agenda. Well, that yeah, I was going to say that was underneath. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, proclamations, certificates, presentations. The first proclamation is recognizing November as Veterans Month in Sussex County, and Commissioner Deputy Director Carney will read that and present it.
Thank you, Director. So this was a proclamation I brought up at our last meeting. This hits home for me. My dad was a 2-time war vet, and this is for everybody in Sussex County and really, hopefully, all over the state. Hopefully, they pass these all over as we do tonight. I would like, if we have veterans, which I know we have in the audience, if you guys could please stand while I read this, I would appreciate that, including our Commissioner, Earl Schick. And I'll read this to you. Whereas Sussex County is home to thousands of brave men and women who have sacrificed, in many instances, paid the ultimate price to defend our freedom, and whereas these heroes serve faithfully, humbly, and valiantly in times of war and peace, and continue to exhibit these admirable traits within our communities, and whereas it is our duty to recognize and honor the selfless and personal sacrifices of our veterans, and whereas the people of Sussex County greatly appreciate every soldier, sailor, airman, marine, and Coast Guardsman who have rendered the highest service any American can offer. And whereas declaring November as Veterans Month in Sussex County is one way this county can extend our deepest gratitude to each and every man and woman who chose to fight for our freedoms. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of County Commissioners of Sussex County proclaims the month of November each year shall be known as Veterans Month in the County of Sussex, State of New Jersey. And be it further resolved that the Board of County Commissioners of Sussex County asks all residents to take a moment and be more appreciative of the many freedoms we possess as Americans, and remember those who have fought for those freedoms. I order the Board of County Commissioners, Jill Space, Commissioner Director, Chris Carney, Deputy Commissioner Director, Jack DeGroot, County Commissioner, William Hayden, County Commissioner, and Earl Schick, County Commissioner. We all thank you for your service. This means a lot to all of us here, so thank you.
And the next proclamation we have is recognizing March 10th through 16th as Multiple Sclerosis Awareness Week. Do we have Tammy Quasisis? Hello. Thank you for coming to accept the proclamation. Okay. If you want to just come up and you can stand by the podium. Okay.
He's got to go.
Okay. You're
I tried to ask him
Okay.
twice.
Okay, I'm gonna have to just stop the meeting before I go on, and I'm gonna have to, you can still stand there, that's good. I'm gonna have to ask the gentleman in the second row is gonna have to leave. Your shirt, I'm all for free speech, but in this meeting, I'm not gonna tolerate a shirt that has the writing on it while there's children here. So you're either gonna have to change your shirt, or you're gonna have to leave.
It's against the law for you to kick me.
No, it's not. We have every right to maintain decorum here. You have every right to express yourself, but not like that. And shame on you. There's children in the meeting.
every right to
Sir,
express
you're going to either
myself
leave or
this
you're going to
way.
be escorted out of the meeting.
I have every right to express
You don't.
myself this way.
You do not.
I do.
Sheriff's, he needs to leave.
You'll be hearing from my attorney.
I look forward to it. I'll send you my address.
This is how they honor veterans here. Honor me.
Folks, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. Okay. Just don't want to take away from the important things here.
And to the young guys, young ladies that are here to learn a little bit about the government, we conduct ourselves better than that. So I'm glad you're here and hope you enjoy yourself and learn a little something.
Yes. Thank you. Okay. Whereas multiple sclerosis, MS, is a neurological disease of the central nervous system affecting nearly 1 million people in the United States alone, and whereas multiple sclerosis generally strikes people in the prime of life between ages 20 through 50, and the cause and course of the often debilitating symptoms of MS remain unknown and no cure currently exists, and whereas the National Multiple Sclerosis Society has been committed to a world free of MS, heightening public knowledge about and insight into the disease, and whereas together we have transformed what it means to live with MS and provided global leadership to help achieve our vision of a world free of MS, and whereas since 1946 the National Multiple Sclerosis Society has been a driving force of MS research, relentlessly pursuing prevention, treatments, and a cure, and has invested more than $1 billion in groundbreaking research, and whereas funds raised through the National Multiple Sclerosis Society fuel research on pathways to MS cures and invest in the MS research workforce at the best medical centers, universities, and other institutions throughout the U.S. and abroad, leading to make breakthroughs in the treatment of MS, whereas the mission of the National Multiple Sclerosis Society is to cure MS while empowering people affected by MS to live their best lives, and one that all Americans and New Jerseyans should support, and whereas the County of Sussex, New Jersey recognizes the importance of finding the cause and cure of MS and expresses its appreciation for the dedication that the National Multiple Sclerosis Society New Jersey Metro Chapter has shown toward creating a world free of MS. Therefore be it resolved that the Sussex County Board of Chosen Commissioners, by virtue of the authority vested in us by the Constitution and laws of the great state of New Jersey, do hereby proclaim March 10th through 16th, 2024 as MS Awareness Week, and do commend this observance to all our citizens. We encourage all New Jerseyans to learn more about multiple sclerosis and what they can do to support individuals with MS and their families. By Board of County Commissioners, Jill Space, Commissioner Director, Chris Carney, Deputy Commissioner, Commissioners Jack DeGroot, Bill Hayden, and Earl Schick III. Thank you. Would you guys like to say something?
Sure. I really need a microphone, but thank you all for tolerating all those whereases. I know there's a lot. So I want to thank the commissioners for observing this week for MS awareness. You've done this several years now in a row. We really appreciate it. I just want to mention to everybody that MS is an autoimmune disease, and it affects the nerves in our system, and our symptoms that we experience depend on what nerves are affected. And there are treatments to delay progression for some people, but not all people. And some people just progress and become more disabled and debilitated. as Commissioner Space, no, I said that wrong, as
That's good.
Deputy, I'm not saying it right.
Commissioner Space is
Commissioner
fine.
Space stated, about 1 million people live with MS in the United States, and it affects those of us living with it, like Nicole and I, but it also affects our families. And actually, it also affects you guys, because MS is a very expensive disease. A 2019 estimate of the national economic burden of MS on the nation was $85.4 billion with a B, that's a B. And that includes direct medical costs to people living with MS, indirect and non-medical costs, and it affects us all. So, as Commissioner Space mentioned, there are ways you can support. A lot of people know somebody living with MS, right? It seems like when you start to hear about it, you're like, oh yeah, I have a friend, I have a neighbor. Best thing you can do is support those friends and neighbors, as our commissioners are supporting us here living in Sussex County. You can attend events. We have Walk MS coming up in April 21st in Roxbury. That's our closest walk. We also have a great bike event coming up in May. And if you know someone who is living with MS and they need some support, please direct them to the National Multiple Sclerosis Society, the Multiple Sclerosis Association of America, the MS Foundation. Nicole and I are co-founders and leaders of a Sussex County MS self-help group. So there's a lot of support out there, and it starts right here in this room, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Take a picture? Oh, thank you so much. I'm sorry. I'm like really taking all your time. Would you mind snapping a picture of?
Yeah, why don't we,
Oh, there you go.
the whole board up?
Oh, the whole board. Let's bring everybody down. Come on down.
You guys get in the middle. Got it? We'll go on the two sides.
Was that next contestant?
Is he good? Good.
It's a good-looking group right here. I'll tell you.
Let me get the wide lens.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.
I'm sorry. Yes.
And next, we have a proclamation recognizing March 18th to the 24th as National Drug and Alcohol Facts Week. Michelle Wolf, are you here?
I am.
Okay, great. If you want to come up. Executive Director of the Center for Prevention and Counseling, and Tina Owie. Okay. From the Center to Accept, accompanied by Lisa Lombardo from the County Division of Community and Youth Services. And that's going to be read by Commissioner Schick.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Commissioner Director. Proclamation. Whereas National Drug and Alcohol Facts Week is sponsored by the National Institute on Drug Abuse, NIDA, to encourage teens to ask questions about drugs, alcohol, and substance use disorder and receive scientifically based facts and answers in return. And whereas it is important for parents to send a clear and strong message of disapproval regarding youth substance abuse. 77.8% of Sussex County 12th graders have reported that their parents disapprove of substance use in teens. Parents are a major influence on their child's decision to use substances. When parents create supportive and nurturing environments, children make better decisions. And whereas perception of harm is the single biggest indicator in the likelihood of youth substance use. When perception of harm is low, use tends to rise. Since the legalization of marijuana, perception of harm has decreased across most substances on local, national, and international levels. And whereas National Drug and Alcohol Facts Week is a celebration of the inquisitive minds of teenagers and encourages them to ask questions about drugs, alcohol, and substance abuse disorder get scientifically based answers without judgment, bias, comment. And whereas National Drug and Alcohol Facts Week celebrates the efforts of national and community organizations working with teens to encourage this science-based conversation about drugs, alcohol, and substance abuse disorder. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Sussex County Board of Commissioners has recognized that March 18th through the 24th, 2024 is National Drug and Alcohol Facts Week. And it encourages Sussex County citizens to support and participate in drug prevention, education activities, and making a statement that we are strongly committed to a drug-free county. By order of the Board of County Commissioners, Commissioner Director Space, Deputy Commissioner Carney, Commissioner DeGroot, Commissioner Hayden, and myself, we thank you.
Thank you. You guys have something you want to say?
Yes, we wanted to thank you all for the proclamation recognizing Drug and Alcohol Facts Week, and thank you to the Center for Prevention and Counseling for their assistance with the facts in the proclamation today, and all of the great prevention work that they implement all over Sussex County every day. Their work in our schools and our community is truly making a difference in this county. Here representing CFPC, Executive Director Michelle Wolf, and Tina Owie, Director of Prevention.
Thank you. We'd like to get a picture with you guys, too.
Can I say a few words?
You want to say a few words? Go
I
ahead.
just wanted to thank you. I'm new to the center. I just joined the team in June. I'm really grateful to be here, but I thank the County of Sussex and the commissioners for all the support that you give our agency. We're really grateful for the Chapter 51 funding, the opioid settlement funding, and we use that towards our prevention work, as well as working with our alliances to further our prevention work, because we really believe prevention is critical as the children and youth are our future. And I'd like Tina to have a few words
That'd be
to
great.
say about our prevention.
Hi, everybody. So just quickly, this past year with the generous funding that we received from the County of Sussex, we served almost 3,000 kids in grades 2 through 9 in evidence-based programming, which means nearly 3,000 kids received at least a minimum of 6 weeks, 6 sessions of program, all the way up to our middle school kids, where they received 15 sessions of prevention programming. And with the funding that we received, we expanded into Montague, so we're serving Montague grades 2 through 8. We are serving Sussex Wantage grades 2 through 8, and also Hopakon grades 2 through 9 in Hopakon, and that's with the generous funding through our county programs and alliances. So thank you so much. Substance use right now is at an all-time low here in Sussex County, and we're really proud to share that information. Back in 2011, almost 40% of our 6th through 12th graders engaged in underage drinking, and our latest results from the 2024, our last survey was done in 2024 in January, we're down to almost 17%.
Wow.
So that's really great prevention work, and it can only be done with the help of all of our community partners, including Christine Florio and her work with the county, our school administrators, our young people that are here in the audience today. So thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'd like to get a picture with you guys, too.
You didn't get a chance.
Yes.
While you're standing up there.
Perfect. Hey, Director, since we're
gonna
so
do the vets, too.
photo energetic,
Yes.
yes, I'd like to bring up.
Already had it planned. Thank you. Thank you. And if we could just bring up all the veterans, we'd like to get a picture with you guys, too. Thank you.
You want to roll in? We get, you need to get closer? Or?
It's hard with the podium.
Yeah.
Come on over.
Tighten up.
Got me to use the podium?
Think it's ready a little closer?
Yeah, can you
So you want to come over here?
I think I got that.
Get put in front, right?
Thank you all.
Now I'm going to call up Autumn Sylvester from the county to give us a water quality improvement plan update.
Director, would you mind if we switch that with JCP&L and have Rich?
Do you guys mind? No, okay. Then I'm going to switch that, and I'm going to get the presentation by Rich Rabis. Is that how you say it? Where is he?
Right there.
Oh, the from JCP&L. Thanks, Rich.
Thank you, Director. And thank you to the board for affording me the opportunity to speak tonight and present to you our infrastructure investment plan. As the director mentioned, my name is Richard Biz. I'm the external affairs representative from JCP&L for our Newton Operations District, which includes basically 98% of Sussex County and then 3 municipalities from Warren County. So something to keep in mind as I go through the presentation itself. A couple of disclaimers I wanted to mention before I actually get into the presentation. One, I'm going to actually be throwing out a few dollar amounts. Keep in mind they're estimates. The proposal is just that, it's a proposal, and every number that's included within the actual proposal submitted to the BPU is just that, it's an estimate. So when I start mentioning the investment being made within Sussex County, keep in mind just a ballpark estimate for lack of better words. Before I actually get into the infrastructure investment plan itself, I just wanted to kind of introduce our company a little bit to you, give you a sense of what we do on a daily basis and who we really are. But essentially, we serve approximately 1.1 million residential, commercial, and industrial customers located within 13 counties and 236 municipalities in the entire state. We basically employ approximately 1,500 New Jersey-based workers, 1,100 of which are IBEW electricians, line workers, and technicians who build and maintain our critical assets on a daily basis. As a company, we maintain and operate more than 26,000 miles of transmission and distribution lines in the entire state. So it gives you a sense of our footprint here in the state of New Jersey. The Newton Operations District itself is about 450 square miles. Give you a sense. I mean, you know the county already, but give you a sense of the Operations District is about 450 square miles in total. Continuing on with a little bit of an introduction to our company itself. Over the last decade or so, our economic development efforts have helped facilitate more than 7,000 new jobs and $1.7 billion in investment in New Jersey. In 2022 alone, we purchased more than $90 million in local goods and services, and approximately 30% of those New Jersey purchases actually came from diverse suppliers, which is something that's important to us. It's one of our core values as a company. The plan itself, it's like I mentioned, it's our infrastructure investment program. We actually branded it as Energize NJ. So I'll refer to the plan as Energize NJ throughout the entire presentation. But essentially it was filed back in November of 2023 with the BPU, and it was filed by us, obviously. It's a 5-year, $930.5 million program. Initially it was actually filed with the BPU as a $935 million program over 5 years. That was recently amended last month. And the BPU is actively reviewing this actual proposal as we speak, and one of the things they actually mentioned to us is our 18 most challenging circuits, I'm going to call them. The BPU basically requested that we take those circuits out of the Energize NJ proposal and actually focus on them immediately, aside from the proposal itself. Which is actually great news for Sussex County because 3 of those 18 circuits actually fall within Sussex County and serve Sussex County customers at the same time. And what we're going to actually do on those circuits is a lot of what's actually going to be done within Energize NJ to other portions of the grid, but essentially installing more robust wiring, stronger, more durable poles, adding trip savers, which are ordered-made fuses, which I'll get into a little bit later on during the course of my presentation. But it's really just fortifying those 18 circuits that are a constant problem and challenge for us to maintain on a daily basis. And they experience the most customer outages at the same time. So eliminating those 3 circuits within Sussex County from those 18 troubling circuits will go a long way towards a reliable electric grid. So going back to Energize NJ really quickly, goals of the plan. There's really 4 goals of the plan itself. It's enhancing reliability, as I already mentioned. It's hardening the grid against storms, expanding capacity, and then it's really building the backbone of the electric grid of the future, preparing for the future. 3 components to Energize NJ, and I'll go into each one of them. Something to keep in mind with the 3 components, every single municipality within Sussex County, even the ones that don't fall within my operations district, are going to benefit from this plan. So no municipalities being left behind. That $150 million estimate is really spread out through every single municipality here. And honestly, we don't really look at things by municipality or by county or anything like that. We really look at things by substation and by circuit. So something to keep in mind. But it'll go a long way in places like Sussex County that basically have had the same grid for over 100 years. That's very difficult to maintain, and it's time to basically take that grid into the 21st century. So going back to the 3 components, the first is grid modernization. And what this component basically entails, and this program entails, it's a $271 million program focused on reliability, storm hardening, and expanding capacity. Some of the highlights of this section, I mentioned previously those 18 circuits, installing more robust wiring, stronger, more durable poles. There's going to be 410 plus miles of overhead power lines that are actually going to be upgraded as part of our grid modernization plan. It's replacing 46 miles of aging underground lines for additional durability and capacity. It's also burying another 7 miles of specific overhead lines and implementing additional circuit protections. And those 7 miles of line are really some of the worst performing areas on the grid itself. And what really is going to happen there by burying those lines, they'll act as a backup. Should something catastrophic happen to the line above, that 7-mile stretch that we're focusing on. And it's not really specific to Sussex County. I should mention that too at the same time. It's overall. But that 7 miles of burying that conductor will actually help us as a form of a backup should something catastrophic happen to the distribution lines overhead. And then finally, the last highlight of the section are those trip savers that I mentioned previously. Now, trip savers are a huge thing for us. They're, like I mentioned previously, they're automated devices, right? So right now, what's common on our grid are the older fuses. They require somebody to go out. Once that fuse pops open, they require somebody to go out in their truck, patrol the circuit, see what that fault is, and if they don't see the fault, or if they clear the fault, they can place that fuse back into a closed position. Now, if an automated fuse is put on the circuit itself, that fuse, if there's a fault on the circuit, that fuse pops open by itself, and it tries to reclose itself 3 times before it actually fails completely. And it requires somebody to actually come out in a truck to patrol the circuit to see where that fault exactly is. Best way to look at it is really with this automated fuse, this trip saver, is if you have a tree limb hanging over one of our overhead lines, that tree limb falls, grazes our overhead lines, that fuse trips, that tree limb continues down to the street level, the fuse tries to close itself again because that fault now cleared and hit the street. The fuse doesn't sense the actual fault and closes itself automatically. It really results in a lessened duration of the outage and the size of the actual duration for customers in some instances at the same time. Now, if the tree branch gets actually hung up in the conductor, that fuse will, like I mentioned, try to close itself 3 times. On a 3rd attempt, it'll just shut down, requiring somebody to go out and actually physically remove the fault, meaning that tree limb that's caught up in the overhead wires. So it saves us a lot of time. And I apologize for even doing this, but I'm going to actually read this verbatim to you guys, because I think it's important. You may have remembered back in 2019, our first part of our infrastructure investment program was called Reliability Plus. That was the branding of it. It was a $97 million program, but essentially half of that was geared towards forestry. What a lot of that program entailed was the installation of these trip savers. And I just wanted to read to you really quickly the actual benefits of having those trip savers installed as part of our Reliability Plus plan in 2019. So again, verbatim, and I apologize for doing that, but I think it's important as written. Trip savers installed during 2019's Reliability Plus investment program prevented more than 3.2 million minutes of cumulative customer outages in 24 months of installation, with an 80% average benefit identified for outage causes that are temporary in nature. This means that for such identified causes, it is expected that 80% will no longer experience a sustained outage. So something to keep in mind as it relates to trip savers themselves and the amount of time it actually saves our crews, but also saves time on the municipal side and on the county side by basically reshifting resources. Our crews can focus on outages that are real if trip savers are working as intended. And then at the same time, county employees like DPW, police, fire, I guess if you want to throw fire in there, even though it's not on the county level. Like I mentioned, DPW, all their resources can be diverted somewhere else too. It's not that power outage that's happening in Frankfurt, as an example. Or it's that pole accident that happens over on 23 somewhere. Trip savers actually not only try to reclose themselves a few times, but it also enables us to isolate issues like a car pole accident. And what I mean by isolate issues is essentially between protective devices. So if a circuit has 2,000 customers on it, a car pole accident happens and affects a portion of the circuit that serves 500 customers, that trip saver can actually isolate the issue to just those 500 customers, not the entire 2,000. So again, saves us time, saves our crews time, saves municipal and county employees time as well. And for a place like Sussex County, I think it's vitally important because the majority of homeowners are on well water, right? So power's not out, well water's not working. Things like trip savers, automatic switches, all those will benefit customers within the actual county itself. One last thing on grid modernization before I move on to system resiliency. How we actually identify the circuits and substations we're working on, it's really driven by data, and is determined by historical outage patterns for maximum benefit. So we're not going to invest the money on behalf of our ratepayers on a circuit that's functioning perfectly. We're going to focus on where those customers are the most challenged and where those circuits can actually benefit from an investment. System resiliency, second component. Stillwater's trees, by the way. Stillwater. And Ron smile, because I know Ron's always on.
My generator runs a lot.
I don't know when it's running because I get a phone call. System resiliency, second component. $559 million program focused on outage recovery, accelerated restoration after severe weather, enhanced flexibility in the energy delivery system, and an increase in equipment automation. So some of the highlights here. 18 substations will be actually upgraded to support additional load and rebuilt circuits. And we're also going to focus on voltage standardization. This, I can't stress how important it is to Sussex County customers. And the best way I can describe this voltage standardization. So a lot of what we have out there right now operates at a standard 12.5 kilovolt configuration. Now there are pockets out there that I like to refer to as islands that still operate at 4 kilovolt voltage. Now something happens in that island, that 4 kilovolt island, and we want to isolate that issue and then switch customers over onto a neighboring circuit to restore them quicker while the permanent repairs are made. We can't do that because it's operating at 4 kV. Now, to marry it up to the 12.5 kV neighboring circuit, we're proposing to actually eliminate those islands, those 4 kV islands, and we see many of those within Sussex County. Eliminating those islands will help us tie into neighboring circuits, again, decreasing outage times and decreasing the actual size of those outages should they occur. This isn't, by the way, one thing I want to mention, this isn't the magic bullet. It's not going to cure all outages out there. I semi-joked about Stillwater, but Stillwater trees are a big concern, and mainly trees off of the right-of-way outside of our trimming corridor that are really customer responsibility. So if that tree falls, customers may still feel an impact with an outage. But again, trip savers, automatic switches, getting rid of these islands, all factor into basically decreasing those outages as best we can, basically the size and duration of those outages. So some of those isolated customers may be impacted while the permanent repairs are made, but we're going to try to minimize the amount of customers by placing all this type of equipment onto the grid itself. So part of eliminating, going back to those islands really quickly, part of eliminating those islands is actually building out new circuits. I mentioned tying into existing neighboring circuits to switch customers over should something happen, or should, in the event something happened. Building out new circuits is part of that as well. So those new circuits will actually help us tie into those new circuits that are being developed within those 4 kV islands, for lack of better words. And again, additional capacity. So basically, adding this additional capacity accommodates additional energy resources, such as solar development, but it's also planning for the future with capacity demand and load demand moving down the road. So a lot of what's going to be installed here will support things like increasing electrification of society. You see more and more EVs on the road. Those EVs have a larger load behind them, and our grid has challenges keeping up with the demand, right? So not everyone's going to go run out and get an EV tomorrow, just like not everyone ran out and got a refrigerator back when they first came out. It's done in phases. But basically, this increased capacity here and the legwork we're doing here is planning for the capacity of the future and the demand of the future. So something to keep in mind as well. Last component, substation modernization. $100 million program focused on upgrading equipment and increasing remote access and automation capabilities. Again, modernized protective devices will be installed and various substation components upgraded as part of these rebuilds. So I mentioned those trip savers or automated fuses. Relays are really going to be what are upgraded at the substations. And like the fuses and like a trip saver is an automated fuse, a relay is essentially like an automated switch. So if that relay senses a fault on a circuit, it can automatically prevent that from occurring and basically switch customers onto a neighboring circuit at the substation level. Some of the work that's actually included within the substation modernization program has a lot to do with our coastal substations. We have a challenge down in central Jersey, mainly in Monmouth and Ocean counties, anywhere near the Atlantic Ocean. Essentially, that salt water that's just destroying our substations and our equipment there. So some of the $100 million that's being invested here will focus on those coastal substations. The last component I really wanted to stress to everybody here, and it's very, very important, not only for our customers in Sussex, but it's basically JCP&L wide. Part of the $100 million program that's focused on substation modernization actually includes the addition of a mobile substation to our fleet. So we have one mobile substation on our fleet already, and what that is, it's basically built on a flatbed trailer. So should something catastrophic happen at one of our substations, or planned maintenance is happening at our substation, or unplanned outage happens at our substation where we need to take customers offline, we can bring this mobile substation in on a flatbed, put customers onto that mobile substation, switch them onto that mobile substation while the permanent repairs are being made to the substation, the permanent substation itself. Huge lifesaver for us. That one that we have in our fleet currently has gone a long way. It's been utilized quite frequently. And again, it's a planned backup in the event it's actually needed. But it's a huge benefit of this actual program. Last couple things I wanted to touch on are actual customer impact, right? And I mentioned the investment itself. It's 5 years, $930.5 million. With every investment, there is a customer impact at the same time in terms of rates. Something to keep in mind, we're heavily regulated by the BPU. So we don't necessarily get to dictate where we spend our money. Basically, the BPU tells us where we can spend our money with our input, of course, and then they leave us a little bit of profit on the end. So something to keep in mind when we're a regulated company like we are. But the customer impact itself. So I mentioned again, 5 years, $935 million. The investment itself, according to the U.S. Department of Energy's interruption cost estimate tool, the investment itself should pay for itself with an approximately $3.360 billion return in reliability benefits to customers by helping reduce non-storm outages, like I mentioned previously, and then basically improving our ability to restore power following a major storm event. Now, what does this mean for the average or typical residential customer? Using 777 kilowatt hours of electricity per month, they would see a total increase of $4.07, or 3.3% on their monthly electricity over a 5-year term of our actual plan. And those incremental increases will actually happen in 7 stages. The first would be effective April 1st, 2025, and that would be roughly 42 cents as an initial increase. The 7 incremental increases, as I mentioned, range over the course of 5 years, and they really range from 17 cents all the way up to 89 cents as an increase as well. Something that we're really proud of, and again, a rate increase is not something we ever want to talk about or discuss or even ponder, to be completely frank with you. But what we're proud about and what we really stand, where we really keep our head high is knowing that our residential rates, even with this proposed plan and the rate increase that would come along with it, our residential rates would stand along as the lowest amongst the 4 electric distribution companies in the state. So that's us, that's PSE&G, that's Atlantic City Electric, and that's Orange Rockland Electric. So our plan is always to maintain rates at a reasonable amount. It's important to us, being the lowest amongst the 4 is just proof in itself that keeping those rates as low as possible for our customers is vital. So again, that's Energize NJ in a nutshell. As I mentioned, 5 years, $930.5 million investment, specifically for the circuits and substations feeding Sussex County customers. It's about $150 million investment that we would be making. Like I mentioned, the BPU is actually reviewing this proposal as we speak. Their docket remains open. They haven't scheduled public hearings. They haven't given us a schedule for those public hearings or anything like that. So while that docket remains open, it's my job to actually go out within the community and present this plan to municipalities, to the county, whoever it may be, to drum up public support and to garner public support for the plan. And maybe you're wondering how you can actually do that, and it's really through the form of resolution. So I urge you to pass a resolution in support of the actual plan. Get in front of the BPU. We understand how important this plan is. We propose it to the BPU. We want our municipalities, our customers, our counties to reinforce our message back to the BPU saying, approve it as written. It's a plan as written. Historically, those plans are never approved as written. But all these resolutions, all the public support that we're garnering will go a long way in hopefully convincing the BPU that the plan should be approved as written. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it. Glad to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you.
I do have some questions. Okay?
Yes, yeah, go ahead.
All right. So you did say 777 kilowatt hours a month, that's average?
Typical.
Okay.
Average is maybe a strong use. It's the typical residential customer in New Jersey.
I'm just way over that.
Yeah, most customers are.
TVs, because I'm 20,000.
Yeah, most customers
I'm going to
are.
bring this home to my family and tell them to shut the lights off.
And again, those rates, Commissioner, by the way,
Hot tub.
obviously based on research.
I thought you had solar panels.
Which makes sense.
Right. Is there any of this money going to any more tree clearing, or are you guys done with that?
No, so the tree clearing is totally separate from this. This is simply infrastructure itself.
Perfect.
The tree, to go back really quickly on forestry.
Yep.
So I mentioned 2019 reliability plus, half of that was focused on forestry. We still have our 4-year on-cycle and maintenance program that we do every 4 years. It's based on substation. So you may now see the same tree crew in the same town 2 years in a row. It's every 4 years, and they do it by circuit, by substation. The good news, too, with our forestry program, obviously everything's gotten more expensive, right, with inflation.
Sure.
But the one thing that we've done recently is actually added money to our forestry budget to focus on more things like trees off of the right-of-way that are really out of our control to begin with. But they're a real big nuisance to us because they result in 80% of our outages. So I mentioned previously, and it was in passing, but I mentioned that it's really customer responsibility to maintain those trees. It'd still be customer responsibility, but at least we would have some additional funding, about $1.5 million annually, to actually address some of those problem trees off of the right-of-way that were maybe a customer that's just an absentee landlord because they don't live, in Sussex County, they actually live in New York State or something like that.
Right.
So something to keep in mind.
18 substations, you said?
18 circuits.
Circuits.
Yeah, oh, I'm sorry, 18 substations with the grid monitors, with the substation modernization.
Okay, that's what I thought. So that's just an upgrade, or is that demo and rebuild?
No, that's just upgrade. No demo, no rebuild.
Upgrade,
nothing like that.
upgrades, so your transformers or your foundations?
It's really the relays that are going to be focused on.
The relays.
Automatic switches that we're going to be
So
installing.
no hard construction per se?
No, like another transformer that's being installed or something like that, no.
Okay.
A lot of it's going to be automation, Commissioner. That'll be installed at the substations. It allows us to basically reduce that size and duration of those outages that I mentioned.
And just to synopsize this, is this mandated by the state or the feds?
No.
Okay, so
The plan itself.
so it's a 100-year-old system that you want to upgrade because we don't have enough power to basically subsidize our county and areas.
So no, it's not the power itself. Generation is always going to be an issue, right? We don't actually, First Energy, our parent company, doesn't own any generation, aside from a couple of coal plants that are actually still in existence down in West Virginia. So this isn't really focused on generation at all. It's really focused on hardening the actual grid itself and modernizing the grid at the same time. It's really bringing it to the 21st century by installing a lot of automated equipment onto the grid. It's installing additional, it's installing more stronger, robust, durable wiring, larger, thicker wires that basically allow a larger demand to travel through, larger capacity to travel through itself. So this is really laying for the foundation for the future demand, load demand that we'll be seeing in places like Sussex. More and more people move out to Sussex County, the larger the demand gets. So this will actually set the foundation for that future. But it's really, the plan in itself, in a nutshell, if I had to simplify it into one sentence, it's really storm restoration, it's hardening the grid, things of that nature.
Reliability.
Reliability. Thank you, Ron.
Understood.
It's like 20 presentations in, and I sometimes blank on the word.
That's all I have, Rich. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Anyone else? No? All right, thank you.
I do have one more. Oh, can we get a copy of that?
Sure, Christina has it.
I didn't get the updated one. The last email I got from you that you were sending the update, but I never actually got the update.
Oh, wow,
If
okay.
you could resend it if you did.
Yeah, I actually have. I actually flipped it over to you a couple days ago. That's strange, but I'll flip it over
Okay,
to you again.
perfect, thank you.
And then you also have the resolution at the same time, a template resolution. I sent your way. It's a template, so keep in mind that actually you can take away from it. If you're wondering if you're going to be, no pun intended, on an island, if you actually pass the resolution, you will not be. Sussex County Police Chiefs Association wrote a letter of support. This is back before the new year. A couple nonprofits in the actual operations district did the same. Andover Police Chief, Chief Danielson, actually wrote a letter of support as well from the OEM side. Resolutions are being passed basically throughout the entire county. As I mentioned, I'm making them around, so most recently I was in Frankfurt last night. Prior to that, I believe it was last week, Vernon Township passed a resolution. Branchville is following, same with Byron. Andover Township passed a resolution, and Sussex Borough passed a resolution in support. And I have a bunch teed up still and scheduled to, presentations still to make, so it's putting a lot of wear on my tires.
Yeah.
But thank you again.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rich.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're going to call up Autumn Sylvester and Bill Copenall from the Planning Department on the Water Quality Improvement Plan.
So, good afternoon. I'm Bill. This is Autumn. We certainly appreciate the opportunity to talk with you today about the Sussex County Wastewater Program Amendment and Revision Policies and Practices. I'm going to let Autumn go through most of the details and the steps of the process itself. Before I let her get in here, I just wanted to highlight a couple of things that I think are important to understand as part of the process. And to give you an idea, currently the division is working with 5 applications that have requested amendments to the Sussex County Wastewater Management Plan, and there are 2 that are pending or on hold. So this is always an active program, and these applications generally can take, years, 18, 24 months or more to go through this process. It is a combination of an internal process that the county has, as well as a process that's regulated through DEP. So I kind of equate it to, the same way as engineering may do, an application for a freshwater wetlands permit. We'll prepare the application, but then it gets submitted down to DEP, and DEP actually has full authority to approve or disapprove the applications. And this really is the same type of thing in this process. So we'll go through the county part of the program, and then it goes to DEP, and DEP confirms and assures that it complies with all their rules and regulations, and will ultimately, once that's determined, it'll be back at the county level and back in front of the board again for final consideration. So, the commissioners, what's your role in this? Your role in this process is really twofold, because Sussex County, as part of the Water Quality Management Act, is actually identified as one of the designated planning agencies. So the Act identifies agencies that have initial overput on advancement of applications for amendments. So in this particular case, the County Board of Commissioners is identified as one of those designated planning agencies for a portion of Sussex County. So the board will see those as preliminary approvals to an application process for an amendment. The board is also obviously the local government entity, so one of the steps that DEP has as the application is then pushed on to DEP for review is then to reach back out to the local governments looking for continued concurrence with the application. So the board will see it as the designated planning agency, and then we'll also see it as the actual governing body for both concurrence with continuing the application and final approval of the requested amendment. The board established the Sussex County Water Quality Management Policy Advisory Committee. The committee has representation from all 24 municipalities, and it has, I believe, 5 to 7 general members that can be appointed to that committee by the board. One of the functions of the PAC is that it is the advisory board to the commissioners, not only as the designated planning agency, but also as the commissioner. So when an application is received, the PAC, Policy Advisory Committee, really has the front line on reviewing and holding informational sessions and gathering information related to the application, and they will ultimately make a recommendation to the commissioners on what they see as it either conforming with the goals and objectives of the wastewater management plan, or if additional information might be needed, or disapproval. You'll hear references to PAC staff. So the PAC doesn't actually have staff. The administrative code assigns the responsibilities for administration and technical support for the PAC, as well as the general compliance and administration of the DEP wastewater planning rules and regulations to the Division of Planning. So that's how the Division of Planning really becomes involved in all this, is it's part of the administrative code assignment to the division itself. Rules and regulations. There's 2 predominant rules and regulations that apply to this. First one is part of the state administrative code. It's 7:15, which is DEP. It's the Water Quality Management Planning Rules. The most recent version of those was adopted in 2016. In addition to that, the county has adopted and DEP has approved local water quality management program rule amendment process that is actually administered at the county level through the PAC and the Division of Planning. Within the county, we really have 2 primary types of wastewater disposal systems. You have individual subsurface disposal systems, septic systems, everybody's familiar with those. Those are not regulated under this process. The other thing that you have is you have these sewer service areas, which are areas where the wastewater is collected and routed to a treatment facility. So that's really what we're talking about as part of the wastewater management plan and any of the amendment processes to that. So Sussex County has a water quality management plan, which is really, governs the wastewater management plan. The plan that currently exists is dated 2001. The Division of Planning has been working with DEP since 2011 to update our water quality management plan. The last submission to DEP was in 2018. It is kind of stalled in the process for a number of reasons. Every time the board had actually approved it, it was resubmitted in 2018. DEP came back with a whole host of other questions and comments related to it, and we have yet to be able to address those comments. So that's where we are with the planning process and the document itself. In the absence of the plan, there is a wastewater management map that DEP has approved, and it's really the future sewer service area map. And what it does is it identifies all of the locations within Sussex County that are approved for wastewater management planning and really discharges to a treatment works facility. All of those permits are, all of those areas are managed really through the DEP JCP&L permit process. So what ends up happening, if an applicant wants to amend the plan, modify one of authorized areas or propose a new area, that's where this planning process comes into play, and they will make the application. So, Autumn?
Take it away. So as Bill stated, if an applicant wants to amend the county wastewater map, they need to first submit a request to staff for a site-specific amendment. At that point, staff will then set up a pre-application meeting with the applicant and their technical representatives to go over the submittal requirements and the process. We typically calculate the projected wastewater flow based on the development proposal at that time. Once the applicant prepares their application, they then submit it to staff, and we review it for completeness in consultation with PAC. So once a complete application is received, PAC then conducts the substantive review of the application, and that includes a formal presentation. PAC will review it for general compliance with the water quality management planning rules, consistency with county land use policies, and will determine if additional information is necessary. And this often occurs over any number of meetings. And once that's complete, PAC will then make a formal recommendation to the commissioners via resolution. And that resolution will be submitted along with all of the application documents, studies, reports, analysis that were completed during the substantive review to the commissioners, who will then review that and then either grant a preliminary approval. Once preliminary approval has been granted, that's what starts the DEP process. And the applicant can then proceed to submit the application to the DEP for their review. And the applicant and the DEP will work together to review their application, again, for consistency to the water quality management planning rules. And DEP will either disapprove an application, request more information, or allow the application, to proceed to public notice for public comment. At that time, DEP will identify local government units that may be impacted by a site-specific plan amendment. They'll, including county commissioner boards, the local governing agencies, any other type of regional planning agency or municipal utility authority that's impacted by the wastewater management plan amendment. And at that time, they'll request written statements of consent. In conjunction with that, DEP will then allow and notice the application for public comment period, and that is published in the New Jersey Register by DEP, and then the applicant is required to publish it in the New Jersey Herald as well as part of our procedure. We then hold a public comment period. Based on the public comments that are received and the interest generated, staff will work with DEP to determine if a public hearing is necessary and if the public comment period should be extended. At that point, if we feel that a public hearing is warranted, the public comment period gets extended, and then we notice with DEP the public hearing. And that again is published in the New Jersey Register and the Herald. So after the public comment period and the public hearing period has ended, that's when it comes back to the commissioners for final commissioner consideration. And then the commissioners, you guys can either approve the amendment as proposed, disapprove the proposed amendment, and approve the proposed amendment with minor changes that are acceptable to DEP and the applicant. If an application is disapproved, you have to state the reasons in writing and provide that in written notice to the applicant. And then if it's approved, then it goes back to DEP, where they are the final arbiter, and they will review it and grant final approval. So it typically takes between a year and a half to 2 years for the process.
And there are appeal processes throughout
Yes.
this, so if it gets disapproved as part of this process, and I guess even if it gets approved, anybody has a right to appeal.
And it'll
this
get
to the court.
appealed to Superior Court.
Okay.
I have a couple questions.
Go ahead. Of course you do.
The recommendations came from SCUMA, Highlands.
Well, it depends. So it depends on where the application is located. So if it's located within the area under the Musconetcong Sewerage Authority, then we would need to get a concurrence resolution and a capacity confirmation from the Musconetcong Sewerage Authority. So that includes like Byram, Stanhope, and Hopatcon. All other areas that are in the county are under SCUMA, so it depends.
And they agree that it should pass.
Oh, I'm just talking about generally.
Right, but the one that we're talking about, number 11.
This particular,
Number 11?
yeah, resolution that we have. You didn't
So,
see it.
I didn't see
This
it.
is the blue chip resolution.
Okay, so SCUMA did adopt a statement of consent as did
And
the
who's the
Highlands.
other entities?
The Highlands.
The Highlands Council. So SCUMA and Highlands, they both accepted it as is.
And if we were to reject it, we would have to come back with the plan to revise it, right?
If you were to reject it, you would just have to put those reasons in writing.
Okay.
And your professional opinion, both yourself and Bill, is of there's no reason to do this? There is a reason?
Based on our,
Well, I think our professional opinion.
Yes.
You have to understand that predominantly our focus is on the administration of these applications.
Right.
And that really, the professional opinions and the opinions really go back to PAC and their process and then through DP. So we look at it from general conformance with the standards and existing plans. We don't necessarily have, we can tell you if it conforms with them, and it is generally in conformance with the plans that would govern this,
Right.
and that all the information that they have provided is appropriate and does appear correct for the application. And then that application goes to DEP, and DEP ultimately does the review of all the individual components of the application. So we do a high-level review to say, okay, they need this, they have it, it looks appropriate. So we can tell you that everything with this, from a wastewater management planning perspective, appears to be in agreement with the plans that the county has. So the open space plan, the farmland preservation plan, and the 2007 strategic growth plan. And that the application itself has appeared complete, and that we have seen nothing that would appear to indicate a problem with this moving forward.
Perfect.
Okay.
And then just one more question, it's kind of a little off topic, but the wastewater that they're going to use or accumulate is a lot less than what's on there now, in this particular instance?
the projected wastewater flow for the proposed amendment is 10,000 gallons per day. Their current water allocation permit is 116,000 gallons per day, and that's consumptive use. So they're a little different, but the consumptive use means that it doesn't come back to the site. Water goes away.
Understood? Okay.
I have questions?
Sure.
If that's okay.
Go ahead.
Make it really easy. Just yes or no, if that's okay with you. Basically with this consent agenda, we are considering to the proposed Sussex Water Quality Management Plan, which has a vote record of 4 A's, 1 abstention on May 11, 2022, and a resolution labeled preliminary adoption of the site-specific amendment to the Sussex County Waste Water Management Plan to include Block 12008, Lot 23, Demers Road, located in Sparta Township, Sussex County, as proposed by Diamond Ship Realty. Is that correct?
That's the preliminary approval.
Yes, and we're consenting to that.
No, so it's two separate processes. So the preliminary approval is our process, and the consent resolution is part of the DEP process. And so DEP, because not all counties are designated planning agencies, they require any applicant for a site-specific amendment to submit a written statement of consent to any local governing body, and that includes the county. So for some counties that aren't DPAs, this is the first time they might be seeing the application. So we're a little bit different. So the preliminary approval is for our process. The written statement of consent is for the DEP process.
Yes,
that
but
resolution
it's
that you-
based on this resolution.
It's based on that resolution, and that resolution was pushed to the board as the designated planning agency, so not as the commissioner board.
Right.
And what that did was it allowed the application to be sent to DEP. So we said generally this appears to be conforming with the goals and objectives of the county. So here's the application submitted to DEP. Then DEP did a very in-depth review of it against their regulations. And as part of that, they concluded that it appears to be compliant. Now what they do is they request these consent resolutions with the governing bodies that they consent to moving forward with the amendment, which will then put it into the public comment and public hearing process.
Understood. I just have a problem because within this resolution, and you talked about it briefly beforehand, it mentions the Sussex County Strategic Growth Plan, and it says that it is supported by it, the goals and objectives, including the expansions of job creation centers, concentrating in the line of development, manufacturing, industrial, all that stuff is within this. And
So DEP requires that practice, so there's the rules and then there's practice. So DEP staff requires that type of clause within any resolution that's adopted for wastewater management plan amendments.
okay.
So that's at their request. They like that in resolution form.
Okay, understood. I just have a problem because, the book, the Strategic Growth Plan, I read it, of course. It was created in 2005, as you said, specifically.
I think it was 2007 was the time.
It was endorsed in 2007.
It was adopted 2007.
Right.
Yes, so it was endorsed in 2007. This was the preliminary adoption was voted in 2022, and now we are in 2024. And reading this, we're talking 17, 15 years. A lot of the data is not where it needs to be.
The water quality management planning rules require that the county planning documents that are adopted and endorsed pursuant to certain rules, so like the MLUL, and the County Planning Enabling Act. So that is the most recent adopted plan element, that master plan element that we have in terms of strategic growth, and so that's what we are required to use.
Okay, understood.
And that's all we have to base it on.
Yes, understood. I just feel that it's definitely out of date. For example, if you went through the Sussex County Growth Strategic Plan, specifically in Appendix A, labeled Planning Foundational Elements, so I assume that's the foundational elements of this whole plan. Page 109, we have Figure 7, which is a chart of the municipal population projections. And at the bottom of the chart, they have the total population for Sussex County, right? All added up and everything. And it states that the 2020 Sussex County projected population was 178,635 people. The actual 2020 census here in Sussex County was 144,221 people. That's a 34,414 person difference. So in my eyes, I'm looking at this and saying this growth plan was way off. It wasn't successful because we didn't hit those, population growth as we saw. So I
think the population growth are just really projections, and they didn't anticipate the economic recession that really hit Sussex County hard in 2008. So you use the best data that's available, and at the time that was the best data that was available.
I just think that now that we're in 2024, you would think maybe there's something from 2007 to 2022 that this would be based upon. Just like with farmland preservation, that program is going to be updated this year, which is great. Open space will be in 2026, I believe.
Right. Well, we updated that in 2016.
Yeah, 2016. Yeah, it will be 2020. Yeah, good point. But for me, I'm looking at, this was made when I was 8 years old. Put it in reference, it was made before. This came out in May 2007, and iPhone came out in June 2007 when we had, data at our fingertips.
So the plan is a function of goals and objectives of the board. And the board sets the priorities for the department and the division on where we focus our efforts. The plan had a draft update that was done in 2014. The then sitting board elected not to adopt the plan.
Interesting.
And since that time, no additional effort has been allocated to updating the plan. I think from a planning perspective, ideally, we would be in a position to have relevant and current plans for a lot of our goals and objectives: strategic growth, farmland preservation, open space, transportation planning, local safety planning, and the department and division does the best we can, but at the end of the day, we're subject to really referencing back to the last updated version of these plans.
That's unfortunate. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's just, that, I mean, there was, I read through and something that came, to my attention that I think, the board should know. I know that's part as a part of the Highlands region. And further in Appendix A, if you turn to page 163, specifically under the section Highlands Water Quality, it states, in conclusion, over time, new development in the Highlands will severely affect the amount of water being withdrawn from reservoirs and aquifers, while at the same time reducing the flow of water in streams and rivers that is vital to aquatic ecosystems. New pavement and impervious surface cover will also decrease recharge of aquifers and increase runoff into surface water, leading to poor groundwater quality and increased incidence of flooding. So
the Highlands Council has determined that the proposed Diamond Chip amendment is consistent with their regional master plan.
Yes, but they didn't have to base it on our Sussex County
They base it on their master plan. So they're the overarching regional planning agency, and so this is in the Highlands planning area in a non-conforming municipality.
Okay.
So there's different rules. So if it was in a preservation area, it may be a little bit different.
Yeah, of course.
So I think that's what that document is really touching on, the preservation area.
Okay. I just know in this specific consent agenda, we're approving the resolution that included what I previously said, that the proposal is supported by the Sussex County Strategic Growth Plan and goals right there. So that is my problem with that.
And I don't think that, Alderman and I would both encourage that our plan documents be updated and relevant, but it's just something that has to be prioritized into a work queue that is extremely demanding.
Working on it.
I know, I appreciate
working on it. But that is all that I had. Thank you for your time.
I think we're good, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Okay. Number 8, public hearing, there is none. Number 9, public session from the floor. This public session is for those wishing to make a comment of 3 minutes or less regarding an agenda item. That's just for things that are on the agenda here. Please line up at the microphone and state your name, municipality, and agenda topic for the record. Can I get a motion to open the floor for public comment? Deputy Director Carney makes the motion, and a second. I'll second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Okay, motion carries. Okay, the floor
Was
is
it consent
open.
agenda or there wasn't one? I'm sorry.
No, we're getting there. We're on
got it.
public session
Got it. Sorry.
for the agenda topics only. Okay, if anyone wants to step up, go ahead, step up and state your name and municipality and agenda topic.
Yes, confused. Sorry.
My name is Ed Sabo. I live in Stillwater, and I've come here to inquire about a project you folks are involved in, replacing a bridge that washed out in Stillwater as a result, I believe, of some drunk driving, and they destroyed the bridge and so on.
I don't believe this is on the agenda.
No, it's not on the agenda. So this would be in the open public session. This is just agenda topics that we're discussing now.
Isn't the budget on the agenda?
That would be, you would be discussing the entire budget, not something like a specific thing from the budget.
Should I wait tonight
Yes, you have to wait.
or come back another day?
Or you can wait until the regular public session, which we will have. That's just later on. Right now, we have to get through the agenda, so it's agenda topics only.
Investment here, I better wait.
Okay, sounds good. You can come up shortly.
Just a quick comment. I would rather have poison ivy or a toothache than deal with the DEP.
Oh, yes.
So you're not alone. It's probably everybody.
Drop the mic.
Okay. Anyone on agenda topics only? Okay, can I get a motion to close the floor for public comment? Agenda only.
Sorry,
Okay.
I'm not certain this is an agenda item because it's not showing, but you're discussing it. This is the water quality management plan.
The agenda has been amended to include that.
Yes.
On our consent agenda for tonight. So yes, it is on the agenda.
Okay, so thank you. So Jenny Derrick's happened to start it. Just wondering if the commissioners are considering that the township has not approved the water quality management plan at the local level, if you're considering that, and also considering that the NJDP is holding a public hearing in May 21, on this issue. Are you considering that when you're talking about voting tonight?
I think what we are voting on is just the plan that was presented to SCUMA, correct, Ron?
Yeah.
Yes. So it's just that they had everything in order on the county end. It doesn't mean that we're approving this project to go on or anything. It's just that they did what they needed to do to get through SCUMA, and then we just would be approving that what SCUMA presented, what they did to SCUMA is approved. But it doesn't have anything to do with that happening
I
in
understand
Sparta.
that, and I appreciate Autumn's presentation.
Right.
But the local level has not approved, and so just
Right, we're just on the county level.
I understand
So as long as they've
but
put
you're
their...
not taking into consideration that the local, as Autumn referenced, the area that's going to be impacted by the amended plan, and that would be Sparta, and Sparta has already not approved the updated water quality management plan.
I'm not sure that's true. I think they tabled that.
No, they voted no.
When was this?
It was Resolution 99 at the February...
Yeah.
They're two apples and oranges. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
February 13th meeting. They voted no.
Because we just have to go by what is, brought to the county and approved through the county. So if it's not approved through the town, then they still will have to go through Sparta.
Right. Yeah, legally they're like apples and oranges, two totally separate jurisdictions, two totally separate authoritative bodies, and what Sparta has its jurisdiction, the county has its limited jurisdiction, and that's all they're considering here.
It's also, up until about 5 o'clock this evening, there was no indication that you were going to be hearing this application or the management plan that I could find anyway. Thank you.
Wasn't it on our agenda?
Not that I could find.
No, we had to amend that.
Okay.
We did just the presentation.
Okay. Okay, anyone else from the public on agenda topics only?
Kathy Brennan, Hampton Township. You need my mailing address?
No.
No.
Okay. I wanted to speak about the resolution about the veterans. I think that's a wonderful thing, and I think it's a long time coming. I find it very interesting and maybe somewhat ironic that it's being brought up right now when one of your very own, one of the commissioners, is being accused of stolen valor. I've been a resident of this county for over 35 years. I have known of this person for many, many years, and I have known of their demeanor, some of the actions they have been involved in, and as a board, you promoting this person to become a commissioner, I find troubling. I feel like maybe you should have known better. Perhaps not this specific issue, but issues like this, I feel I expect to come up with this person. And I just feel like you've opened a can of worms, and I think something needs to be done about this open can of worms. And I think it's a very serious accusation. And I think, not being a veteran myself, my husband is a veteran, many people here are veterans, I think it's very appalling and disgusting for them. And I would hope that you would be doing something about this as soon as possible, this serious accusation, and I hope that the person would either address it, show some kind of proof of some kind of service, or basically just apologize and admit, and basically, I feel, resign from the commission.
Okay, I'm just going to comment on that. Thank you. I just want to comment that this board, we have kept ourselves away from the issue that you're discussing. We have stuck to, we did censure Commissioner Hayden, but it was on different topics, which was before this particularly came to light. And we do have other veteran things going on at this time, so it wasn't like that was picked the resolution, the proclamation was picked specifically because of what was going on. You know,
Well, I
we
think
do.
something should be done.
Right,
because it
we
is-
legally, this board, there's nothing that we can do. We did censure on other issues, but there's nothing, we can't fire a commissioner, and, you know, we really can't, there's nothing that this board can do. We can't vote someone out. So,
I understand you
unfortunately.
can't just say, you know, don't come back.
Right.
But there are other options, possibly recall, and possibly, you know, discussing with the person that maybe it would be a good option if they would
I don't think
come public and say something about it. Either way, I mean, right now, I get it, it's an accusation, but I don't see anything that says, no, this didn't happen, or yes, this did happen.
Yeah, and the role of this board is county government. Like, we are here to pass the budget, pass resolutions to benefit the county of Sussex.
Well, this is not benefiting the county.
It certainly
Having
isn't,
this-
but
I feel
that's
like
our
this
goal.
is a big stigma right now over our head.
Right.
And it's not benefiting the county at all. If anything, it's to me a big detriment to the county.
Yes, and we have struggled with trying to get county business done over all of this, so thank you. Okay, anyone else on agenda topics only? Okay. Can I get a motion to close the floor for public comment?
Still moved.
Deputy Director Carney and Commissioner DeGroot second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Okay, number 10, Commissioner comments. We'll start with Commissioner Schick, please.
Thank you, Director. So after our last meeting, where we were inundated with a number of students and faculty from the college, I had a meeting with the chairman of the board of directors of the college, and we went over a number of things that was stated in the meeting. We went over some planned actions and some resolutions to try to come to an idea of how, you know, whether or not any of these things are relevant or not. They have committed that they're going to do their own internal investigation and then submit to us what it is the independent audit would produce for us. This is for our review.
Okay.
We did, although everyone is highly excited about what's going on over there, they're just giving me as the liaison, as one of the liaisons, a lot of information of which I forwarded to both you, council, and the chairman of the board, Kuwait. So that is a moving target at the moment. We don't have any resolutions as of yet, but it is a work in progress. Second thing is I had the honor to attend the Northern New Jersey Commissioners meeting in Bergen County at the American Dream Mall. I was extremely impressed with the Bergen County executives and what he showed us about shared services, his infrastructure around internet, and then the service location he has for the DPWs of smaller towns, and the certified repairs for the school buses, because every school bus has to have a certified certification with every repair, and that all comes out of the county money, and they do spend a lot of money in taxes there, a lot more than we do. However, I think on another scale, as we talk about shared services in the last couple of meetings, and I think this is my third or maybe fourth meeting. You know, and we're talking about it was really enlightening to see how a county of that size, and then their plans to carry on the World Cup in 2026. And lastly, I had a meeting. Commissioner Carney and I went to the Fire Academy, and they laid out their plan in about 2.5 hours worth of a presentation regarding how they're going to make it a multi-use facility for law enforcement, EMS, and fire. We toured the facility. We turned the burn boxes, as they call them, which simulated flash fires. We toured the obstacle course for firefighters. We toured the Main Street simulated Main Street location where they could address accidents and fire in a very compacted area for training. We talked about electric vehicles and the suppression of how, with all the Teslas on the road. So it was an enlightening and an extremely educational process. They are very active in going to the communities to get our young people, as young as I think 16. At the county high schools to try to enroll into college. By the way, for those who don't know what the Fire Academy is underneath the county college jurisdiction. So they're going to go to job fairs at schools, they're going to go to recruiting locations, and they're going to try to recruit here. We were in company of two police chiefs, and they were extremely excited that they would be able to generate local law enforcement, have them trained right here in our county, as well as young firefighters as young as 16. So, it was a busy week and a half, but learned a lot.
Good.
Learned a lot. That's all I have for today.
Good. Commissioner DeGroot.
All right. To begin, the Farmland Preservation Revitalization Tour has continued since our last meeting. I made my 10th stop visiting Montague Township Committee. It was great to talk with the mayor and council there. I do want to point out that last night the township did pass a resolution declaring the gypsy moth a public nuisance in the township of Montague. Yeah, it's really bad there. So I wanted to point that out. So just be on the lookout for gypsy moths, not only in Montague, but all around the northern part. I imagine we'll probably see some orange, maybe Frankfurt, or watch out. But nonetheless, with 10 total stops on the tour, I will continue to perform outreach and follow up with the boards and committees. Next up is Wantage and Standiston for the month. For NJAC, like Commissioner Schick mentioned, we had our Northern County, New Jersey meeting for that, which was held at American Dream Mall in Bergen County. Myself, Commissioner Schick, and Commissioner Carney attended. It was great to discuss common county issues and learn how different northern counties handle them. Additionally, Read Across America occurred last week, and myself and Sheriff Strada went to Wantage Elementary School on Wednesday to read with kids. It was great to return to the familiar halls and classrooms where I once walked as a student.
A few years ago, right?
Not too long ago. 2010 graduate, so we made a decade. I decided to read the book, Why Do Rabbits Hop? And I actually did this because I did a 4-H presentation on this, and where I showed and brought in the families, bunnies, and did all that. But I bring that to your attention because I wanted to remind everyone 4-H will need judges on Friday, March 22nd at Kittatinny Regional High School. I have the time. Judges should arrive at 6:30. I know that myself and Lorraine will be doing it, and I invite all you. Please,
That was
let me know.
Was that a Friday night?
Yeah, Friday night. Yeah. So we'll have a good Friday night. In addition, I also attended the Senior Services Advisory Council last week. It was terrific to introduce myself and meet the council. As another one of my goals I mentioned at the January 1st reorganization meeting, I said I'll be actively contributing to the support and improvement of programs offered by the Division of Senior Services. So I'm happy to start the conversation for the start of collaboration on ideas and health betterment for our seniors. And in addition to that, for the Division of Senior Services, they have some great things going on. The Center for Lifelong Learning at SCC, the Division of Senior Services, collaborates with Sussex County Community College to offer educational presentations and classes to seniors through the Center for Lifelong Learning. The center located on site at SCC is hosting the following presentations and classes during March. To register or obtain additional information about the programs, please contact the Division of Senior Services by calling 973-579-0555, extension 127. In addition to that, becoming a community journalist. This is of real interest. This is a free certificate program. The 8-week course is designed to teach journalism skills and design practices for anyone in the greater Sussex County who wants to share stories and information about the communities. Participants have the option to attend in-person or online. Both the in-person and online classes begin on March 26, 2024, and they end on May 14, 2024. In-person classes will be held in SCCC's Media Center every Tuesday from 12:45 to 2:45. Spaces is limited and registration is required. Lastly, I just wanted to quickly congratulate Mario Poggi from our hometown, Sussex Wantage, for his grand opening on the Sussex Wantage Historical Society Museum on Saturday. I attended Wednesday, and I attended last Saturday, and it was fantastic to see the history of Sussex Wantage being preserved and displayed for others to learn. They are open for visitors any Sunday between 12 to 3. Highly recommend. Some really great stuff.
And Mario's dedication to the history of Sussex and Wantage is just incredible. It's a lot of time and effort into it.
It is. Great point.
Thank you. Deputy Director Carney.
Thank you. DPW crews work to repair basins on County Route 622, Newton Schwartz Road. In 2023, DPW crews inspected 4,096 stormwater inlets as part of our NJDEP highway occupancy permit. The inspection process resulted in identification of 1,161 inlets that required cleaning for work orders issued, and 657 inlets requiring repair work orders issued. Repair work orders as assigned a priority, which helps manage allocation of resources. Work orders included 24 high, 135 medium, and 498 low priority assignments. Allocation of resources is directed to high priority repairs first. High priority repairs include deficiencies such as basin wall failures, grate or casting failures, severe concrete deterioration, undermining and failures of adjacent pavement. In 2023, DPW has completed 1,161 cleaning work orders and 167 repair work orders. Moving along, pedestrian warning beacon systems in mid-block crosswalks along County Route 644 at the Vernon Crossing, Township of Vernon. Construction Forces, Sussex County Office for Traffic Safety. That's who does the work. Sussex County, and obviously Sussex County Public Works. County of Sussex and Township of Vernon have entered into a shared services agreement to work collectively towards the enhancement of pedestrian safety by installing a regular rapid flashing beacon, or RRFB, pedestrian warning systems in mid-block crossings along County Route 644 Vernon Crossing, Mississippi and Vernon Recreation Fields. The anticipation is as follows. On or about Thursday, March 14th, 2024, construction is to begin. Construction is anticipated to last approximately 2 to 3 weeks. Tentative schedule subject to change based on the weather. Hopefully you don't have any bad weather and other foreseen circumstances. As I spoke at our last meeting, we did have a meeting with the BPU along with District 23 and 24 about bringing some money back to help out the infrastructure of our broadband, our internet service. I'm meeting again to understand. It was a lot of logistics that I personally don't understand. Warren County is a little bit ahead of us, and I'm going to be working with their commissioners as well, but we are meeting with them, the Director of Space and myself, along with Ron and our Chief on Friday at 12 o'clock to kind of go over the logistics of all that. And then we're going to start heading out to our municipalities to figure out where they need service and whatnot. My understanding is the BPU is about a year behind on their maps. So basically, someplace like Stillwater, which I've been driving through lately in the middle of nowhere, get nervous there sometimes. That would be, in my eyes, but I don't know, would be a place where we need to hit it. Montague, out there in Sandyston, over in Layton, west of Vernon. I believe those places need it more so than maybe say like a Newton or a Franklin or maybe even a Sparta. So we're going to be working with them and trying to get that money rolled in, updating poles, wires, so on and so forth. So that's Friday's meeting. I did get to plan. I went to a planning board meeting on Monday. Commissioner Schick couldn't make it. So I was the only commissioner there, seeing what's going on. They were pretty busy with some applicants, but that was an experience. I went to the Christmas market along with Mayor Silverthorne. They were giving out grants. So the German Christmas market, as you guys probably know, is at the fairgrounds. They gave out $122,000 in grants. Wow. So when we need money for the food pantry because we're running low, I spoke to the chairman and he was willing to let us put a grant application that Christine Florio is working on. So hopefully in the future here we can see, maybe $5,000, $10,000 from them. He was pretty, he liked the idea and he's willing to accommodate us. As Commissioner Schick said, we did go to the Fire Academy. Met with Dave Dixon. What was his title?
John Dixon.
John Dixon, I'm sorry, John Dixon.
He's the director of the ETSA.
He seems like he's going in the right direction. As Commissioner Schick said, getting law enforcement in there, opening up possibly a rifle range. If you guys shoot guns, it's a good place to shoot guns. There's the public opening, I think once a week it is. You have to look on our website. I don't honestly remember everything there. Again, we attended the NJAC meeting in Bergen County, American Dream Mall. It's very big. You can spend easy day there if you're interested in going there. But that was our NJAC meeting. And then I went to NJOA dinner, which is the New Jersey Outdoor Alliance, which I got to witness LD24, our own Senator Parker Spates, get an award for his legislation with helping the outdoorsmen in hunting and fishing and trapping and so on and so forth. So it was a good day for that. And that's all I have.
Okay. Division of Social Services, Backpack Snacks for Kids, Feeds Children in Need, WNNJ 103.7, WSUS 102.3, and the Bear 106.3 will host the 9th Annual Backpack Snacks for Kids Food Drive at the Weiss Markets in Franklin and Newton on Saturday, March 23rd, 2024, from 10 to 3. The Backpack Snacks for Kids program provides children in Sussex County with meals and snacks for the weekend, and is all possible thanks to our generous community and team of dedicated volunteers at the Social Services Food Pantry. Items such as meals in a can, soup, oatmeal, granola bars, and applesauce are packaged in snack-sized containers and distributed to children in participating school districts to bring home at the end of the week. The food pantry distributes approximately 2,200 backpack snack weekend bags each month. Donations from the Backpack Snacks for Kids food drive go directly to Sussex County Children in Need. If anyone is in need of food for themselves or their family, they can stop by the Division of Social Services located at 83 Spring Street in Newton from 8:30 to 4:30, Monday through Friday. Food or pet donations are accepted during these hours, or special arrangements can be made for after-hour donations by calling 973-383-3600. Division of Health. There are 4 resolutions on the agenda this evening to approve memorandums of agreement between the Sussex County Division of Health and the Sussex County Fairgrounds. The MOAs will allow the Division of Health to provide an immediate health response to the citizens of Sussex County in the event of a public health emergency. The MOAs support the following steps to ensure that the Division of Health can be ready for immediate response. The Division of Health would establish and staff a receiving, distribution, and storage RDS facility to store equipment, material, and medications received by the State Health Department. The division would then open a point of distribution, POD, site to distribute the resources in the RDS to the community. The division would also establish a vaccination site and ensure it's ready to function within 48 hours. In addition to the above services, public health nursing will have the ability to set up a medical needs shelter, MNS, mobile hospital and drive-through facility, which is being purchased through a grant. Public health nursing will be able to utilize either one of the buildings on the site or the mobile hospital for surge overflow and sheltering of those county residents that may need medical treatment or care outside of what a general shelter can offer. Office of Public Health Nursing, a women's health screening clinic will be held on Thursday, March 21st, 2024, from 4:30 to 7:30 at the Office of Public Health Nursing, 201 Wheatsworth Road in Hamburg. This clinic offers a variety of health screenings and education. This service is available free to uninsured and underinsured county residents who qualify to the New Jersey Cancer Education and Early Detection NJCED program. To schedule an appointment, call the Office of Public Health Nursing at 973-579-0570, extension 1246. Also, we have coming up, I know that Lorraine works very hard on this every year, and since we have quite a few veterans in the audience, now is the time to say it. The Sussex County Department of Health and Human Services Division of Senior Services, along with Catholic Charities Veteran Services, invites the Sussex County veterans to a Veterans Appreciation Lunch, and that is Wednesday, April 24th, 2024, at the Farmstead Golf and Country Club in Andover, and it's from 11 to 2. Veterans do need to pre-register by April 15th to the Sussex County Division of Senior Services by calling 973-579-0555, extension 1277, or they can email seniorservices@sussex.nj.us. And this event is open to just Sussex County veterans. So we don't have enough room to have like family members too. So it's just our vets, right?
Well, basically, we just do Veterans for the Veterans Appreciation luncheon. In April, we do a Veterans Picnic, which is for all of the family. And then in November, we do the Veterans Parade, which is for our entire community.
Yes.
So it's really trying to recognize all our veterans, show our appreciation for all the services. And while we have the Veterans Appreciation Luncheon, we also have vendors all there that provide services to veterans to make them aware of what's available to them.
Here.
Sum that up now?
Yes,
There's
that's
also
perfect.
flyers there if anybody wants one, just take with them.
Yes, and this is something that we do. These events are not new. These are existing events that are very well attended, so I highly recommend going to that. Recently, I attended the Green Fire Department installation dinner, and it was pretty interesting because they swore in, my husband had the opportunity to swear in the line officers, and one of them was Chief Gould, who started out with my husband in Beamerville, and he spent 10 years there, and now he became a life member in Green, and he was sworn in as chief, so that was exciting. And I attended the NJOA dinner with Deputy Director Carney, and then yesterday was the chamber breakfast, and I would highly recommend any businesses in the community to attend, to join the chamber. I think it's like 280 something a year to become a chamber member, and it's just a very good resource for small businesses in the area, and a good way to network with other businesses and community members and nonprofits. Tomorrow the chamber is hosting an agricultural tourism event, and that is from 9 to 4 at Minerals. I'm looking forward to that. Maybe Commissioner DeGroot will be attending with me. And I think that's about all I have today. Okay. All right, let's see where we are. Okay, number 11, approval of consent agenda. A, resolution consenting to the proposed Sussex Water Quality Plan Management, WQM Plan Amendment. Can I get a motion to adopt Resolution A?
I'll make that motion. I'm sorry, Director, you said that was 11, I have it as 10.
Okay, my numbers are always wrong.
I don't know if you're wrong or I'm wrong.
You might
This copy might be.
Okay.
I'm with you.
You have which one?
Mine's 10.
Okay.
All right, so just for the public, that's all.
Mine is always like one off.
For some
Always.
reason it does that,
I shouldn't even do numbers. Okay, so is there a motion to adopt the resolution consenting to the proposed Sussex Water Quality Plan Management, WQM Plan Amendment?
So moved.
Okay, and a motion and a second.
Second.
And the motion was by Deputy Director Carney, and the second was by Commissioner DeGroot. Any discussion?
No, it's not. No.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, Jack, sorry about that. No, I meant Commissioner Schick.
You're making me
So
younger.
let me rephrase.
Giving me hair.
Let me rephrase that. The motion was made by Deputy Director Carney, and it was seconded by Commissioner Schick. Okay, sorry about that. Any discussion?
I cannot support a consent agenda that includes and relies on the plan finalized and endorsed back in 2007 and created in 2005. I just definitely think we need to address the problem, update this plan, and hold some accountability for this. I'm going to be voting no.
Okay, and this is not a roll call, so all in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Abstain? Okay, motion carries. Okay, 12, approval of minutes, that's tabled to the next meeting. 13, or whatever number it is.
12.
Okay, 12, okay. Ordinance.
I got you. I'll keep you.
Okay.
You keep.
I'll look over at yours for the
All right.
number. Ordinance A, introduction for first reading, ordinance 24-01, bond ordinance providing for the various 2024 capital improvements by and in the County of Sussex, State of New Jersey, appropriating $3,075,000, therefore, and authorizing $2,775,000 bonds or notes of the county to finance part of the costs thereof. Can I get a motion to adopt this ordinance on first reading and authorize the clerk to advertise this ordinance as introduced for first reading and also post same on the bulletin board in the lobby of the County Administration Center, together with the notice of public hearing stating that a hearing will be held on March 27th, 2024 at 6 p.m. prior to final adoption of the ordinance? Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Okay, Commissioner DeGroot makes the motion, and a second.
Second.
Commissioner Schick, any discussion? Roll call, please.
Director Space?
Yes.
Deputy Director Carney?
Yes.
Commissioner DeGroot?
Yes.
Commissioner Hayden is absent. Commissioner Schick?
Yes.
Okay. B, introduction for first reading, ordinance 24-02, bond ordinance providing for the undertaking of 2024 capital improvements at and for certain facilities of Sussex County Community College located within the County of Sussex, State of New Jersey, appropriating $2.8 million, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $2.8 million bonds or notes of the County of Sussex, State of New Jersey, for financing such appropriation, the principal of and interest on the aggregate principal amount of which will be entitled to state aid pursuant to Chapter 12 of the Laws of New Jersey of 1971. Motion to adopt this ordinance on the first reading and authorize the clerk to advertise this ordinance as introduced for first reading and also post same on the bulletin board in the lobby of the Office of County Administrative Center, together with the notice of public hearing stating that a hearing will be held on March 27th, 2024 at 6 p.m. prior to final adoption of the ordinance. Can I get a motion?
Still moved.
Okay.
Second.
Deputy Director Carney and Commissioner DeGroot seconds. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Director Space?
Yes.
Deputy Director Carney?
Yes.
Commissioner DeGroot?
Yes.
Commissioner Hayden is absent. Commissioner Schick?
Yes.
Okay, C, introduction for first reading, ordinance 24-03, capital ordinance providing for general capital improvements and the acquisition of certain capital equipment in and for the County of Sussex, State of New Jersey, and appropriating the sum of $7,204,214, consisting of $6,250,786.78 from the county's capital improvement fund and $993,427.22 from the county's reserve for departmental improvements to pay for the costs thereof. Can I get a motion to adopt this ordinance on first reading and authorize the clerk to advertise this ordinance as introduced for first reading and also post same on the bulletin board in the lobby of the County Administration Center, together with a notice of public hearing stating that a hearing will be held on March 27th, 2024 at 6 p.m. prior to final adoption of the ordinance? Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Okay, Commissioner DeGroot makes a motion, and a second.
I'll second.
Commissioner Schick, any discussion? Roll call, please.
Director Space?
Yes.
Deputy Director Carney?
Yes.
Commissioner DeGroot?
Yes.
Commissioner Hayden is absent. Commissioner Schick?
Yes.
Okay. 13, appointments and/or resignations. There are none. 14, we have resolutions A through Q, and we are taking out O and P. Can I get a motion to adopt resolutions A through Q, excluding O and P?
Still moved.
Okay. Deputy Director Carney makes a motion, and a second.
I'll second.
Commissioner Schick makes a second. Any discussion? A roll call, please.
Director Space?
Yes.
Deputy Director Carney?
Yes.
Commissioner DeGroot?
Yes.
Commissioner Hayden is absent. Commissioner Schick?
Yes. Yes.
15, awards of contract change orders bids. That would be A through F. The Board of County Commissioners of the County of Sussex has reviewed the award of contract change orders bids consisting of various proposed resolutions and determined that adoption of the said resolutions is in and will further the public interest. Can I get a motion to adopt resolutions A through F? Deputy Director Carney makes the motion and Commissioner DeGroot is a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Director Space?
Yes.
Deputy Director Carney?
Yes.
Commissioner DeGroot?
Yes.
Commissioner Hayden is absent. Commissioner Schick?
Yes.
Okay. 16, financial. That would be A, payment of bills, March 13th, 2024. Can I get a motion to pay the bills list?
So moved.
Deputy Director Carney and then Commissioner DeGroot. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Director Space?
Yes.
Deputy Director Carney?
Yes.
Commissioner DeGroot?
Yes.
Commissioner Hayden is absent. Commissioner Schick?
Yes.
B, resolution, transfer of 2023 appropriation reserves. Can I get a motion to approve Resolution B?
So moved.
Deputy Director Carney makes the motion. A second?
Second.
Commissioner Schick seconds. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Director Space?
Yes.
Deputy Director Carney?
Yes.
Commissioner DeGroot?
Yes.
Commissioner Hayden is absent. Commissioner Schick?
Yes.
17, personnel, we have none. 18, administrative report.
Thank you. Just real briefly, we had a very, I was talking about one item that's going to cover a lot of different topics, but Lorraine and I had the privilege of having a meeting with our grant writer, Millennium, yesterday, because a lot of the grant monies are coming available through Congress, the state, and all the associated areas that provide grants for us. We're putting in for anywhere between 4 and 6 grants to cover shared service agreements with all the municipalities to have senior service recreation activities. Lorraine has already started that conversation amongst all the municipalities to do agreements to that, and that can provide for things of capital, it can provide for programs, it can provide for activities. It also will allow us to apply for a grant for a senior bus. That will get a new bus dedicated for seniors, and we can also use that for our helps over here in the courthouse. We are bombarded when the courts, people go to court, they get sentenced, they have to go somewhere to like therapy or to some other agency. They hit the street and they have nowhere to go. There's no secondary transportation here in Sussex County. So it allows us to get a bus that will do both, service seniors and service that activity that we have a need for. We have historical grants that we're looking at for historical sites, such as the prosecutor's office. They can give us a grant to do a scoping and planning grant for that office. Once that's approved, then we can go after a capital grant under that same historical process. We're looking at water quality improvement grants that will help us fund the wastewater line that we're getting ready to put in Frankfurt. We can get offset costs, if not all, for that particular project. So those, in a nutshell, are a lot of the things that we're going after. We're applying for it. We're applying for everything that we think we can, but the Appropriations Committee has already released money. We are already in the queue now to start getting as much of that as we can to help out the residents and to do shared services with the municipalities. So that's all I got for tonight.
That sounds good. 19, County Council report.
Not tonight.
Okay. Number 20, unfinished business. I'll use that point just to ask you, has there been any response from the feds on our food pantry investigation of Commissioner Hayden's?
I've not been contacted by anyone from any law enforcement agency, nor have I been contacted by any employee of the county to indicate that they were contacted by any law enforcement agency, state or federal.
Okay, and then the other one was, have you been contacted from the AG on a no-show job that Commissioner Hayden likes to talk about?
No.
Okay, I didn't think so. All right, thank you.
I have new business.
You do? You have unfinished?
Yeah, just real quick, just an update. I know, because it's a kind of a pet peeve now, we don't have pins and placards for our employees up in here. So we are looking into getting prices. Linda's been working on that. We received the prices. So hopefully by the end of the month, we'll have that set, just so we all know. So it's going to go from 25 to 50 years, 5-year increments with the pins and the placards. So each year will have their own placard or plaque, and then the people's names will be on there. the 50 year, I was just thinking that the placards with their names on there would be a little larger.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure how many we're going to have.
Yeah.
Two so
I know we
far.
only have 2, so that's how that'll look. But I'm hoping that at the end of the month we have that on.
Large font.
Very large font.
Large font so they can read it.
So that I can read it too.
So we can kick that off once they get here and start appreciating our employees a little bit more.
Sounds good. Cool. Any other unfinished business?
Yeah.
No. Okay. New business.
New business I have.
Okay.
Unless anybody else has any. No?
Deputy Director Carney?
So I have another resolution. I'm just going to read you some of it, and I'll have it prepared for our next meeting. This is sponsored by Senator Bucco and Tiber. It's an alternate proposal, fully funds the TTF and avoids higher gas tax and closes EV loophole. In an effort to hold New Jersey Transit accountable and reauthorize the Transportation Trust Fund, or the TTF, without higher taxes, Senate Leader Bucco, District 25, and Senator Latham Tiber, District 8, planning to introduce a proposal to build upon the 2016 program to make it more nimble and functional in 2024. This plan reflects the post-COVID transportation usage of New Jersey residents and shifts funding from a troubled agency back to local communities. The plan proposed by, again, Senator Bucco and Tiber would address ways to fix the Transportation Trust Fund, the TTF, reauthorizing the TTF and creating an 8-year program to fix transportation funding, conducting a forensic audit of New Jersey Transit to hold NJT accountable, closing electric vehicle loophole, which currently pays nothing into infrastructure maintenance, so everyone would pay their fair share, putting debt avoidance funds to better use by investing in transportation, re-imaging the program distribution, so more money for local infrastructure, bringing back to Sussex, obviously. Bucco-Tiber proposal would provide short-term gap funding to NJT for operations and capital prior to implementation of audit recommendations with the goal of seeing New Jersey. So I will have that prepared for you guys to look over next week and then to introduce at our next meeting.
Okay.
All right?
Sounds good. Any other new business? No? Okay. And that's that. Okay. Next is the public session. From the floor, the public session is for those wishing to make general comments of 3 minutes or less on non-agenda topics. Please line up at the microphone and state your name and municipality for the record. Can I get a motion to open the floor for public comment?
I make a motion.
Okay, Commissioner DeGroot makes a motion, and a second,
I will
please.
second that.
And
Jim.
yes.
Okay.
What's that? Okay. I'll let him, yes, okay. And did I get a second?
I second it.
You second it, okay. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, the floor is open. Go ahead, Mr. Szabo.
Boy, it's nice to have friends.
Well, I think he lives in your town, so he probably knows.
I'm calling, really, I'm here to discuss a little bit the bridge that's out. I've gone to talk with Mr. Tapan, who's helped me, given me information. I've talked to our own mayor, tried to get an update on what was going on and so on. And so I'm here to try to put myself in the shoes of my neighbor and a friend who's kind of suffering over this whole issue. You all may recall, maybe an hour ago, this gentleman, policeman, had to close the window here because there was so much noise from the trucks, the motorcycles. Take a look at the distance from here to the roadway. Now, if you reduce that by 75%, that's about what my neighbor has to put up with. And we're talking about sitting here for an hour. Can you imagine living at that location and not feeling that it was important enough to do something about it? And the feedback I've gotten from various people is that we're talking about a 5 or a 6 year period. Who could put up with that? Not a single person in this room would be willing to put up with that. And yet, all I hear is that, well, the water is so pure on one side of the road that watercress grows there, and watercress only grows in perfect water, okay? On the other side of the road, it's full of geese on another little tiny pond. And so here you've got perfection and you've got a mess. And to have to live with all of that for 6 years, this is an investment that this person made to buy this place a few years ago. We are not the luckiest commercially available group or organization or community that you can find. And this man not only invested in this farm property that he has, the acreage that goes with it, but because he fell in love with our community. When he finds out that just a few feet from his house, he's got to wait for a traffic light to turn to get out of his driveway. I mean, it's an outrage. And just to think that we can just arbitrarily blame it on the DEP, and by the way, I said before I'd rather have a toothache. You know, I think that I might rather have a kidney stone out. Thank God I've never had one, but I've heard enough
Better knock on wood.
Okay, so is there an engineering report available to the public to understand better what the issue is? Is there a way?
Do we know if we have an engineering report on?
May I continue?
No, sorry, time is up.
So we keep a 3-minute limit so we keep the meetings going, but we'll make sure that we get you an answer to your question in terms of
Yes.
timing on the bridge. I assure you. Okay.
And Director, if I may,
Yes.
I've been in touch. Mr. Sabo.
Mr. Sabo.
Mr. Carney's done.
I just one comment on that. If you're referring to Dimitri, and I forget his last name to be honest with you, I've been in contact with him and giving him updates as we progress, just so you know that.
Thank you.
Okay, you got it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good evening. My name is Joseph Lababera. I'm from Stillwater. I just want to thank you all first for the Veterans Resolution. That's near and dear to my heart. I served 5 combat tours in Iraq and Afghanistan. I have 7 campaign stars. I'm legitimate. I've actually done it. And what I'm here for today is, there is a scandal going on, but what the specific reason I'm here is in a number of capacities. I'm here to address threats made to the public by Bill Hayden, who sits over there, but he's not here now. And in the military, this is called being AWOL or UA, which is now becoming a pattern. And for a guy who cares so much about taxes, it'd be nice if he takes the tax money that he gets paid and shows up. And veterans have courage, so veterans show up and face the consequences of their actions. We have an empty seat over there, again. But what I'm here to say is that I have to protect council buildings, government buildings from car bombs, snipers, and all kinds of nasty things. I've gone face-to-face with Ansar al-Sunni. I've gone face-to-face with the Zarqawi people. I've gone face-to-face with some nasty people around the world. I've been shot at, I've shot back, and we've lost a lot of good men. If Hayden was sitting here right now, I was planning to name the names of a lot of the guys we lost, but I think their names are too good for him. The threats he uttered and the threats that his opportunistic Confederates are uttering, what I'm here to say is that, first of all, it's laughable to think that I could face the Taliban and Ansar al-Sunni and Zarqawi's group and bend a knee for his ridiculous threats. I want the people of my county to know that those threats are bogus. He can't sue you, he can't hurt you, he can't put you in jail, and neither could his dishonest, opportunistic Confederates. You have every right to FOIA a public official's military service. You have every right to question whether that person abused and lied and took advantage of the public trust and the public treasure to get leverage. And he personally lied through his teeth through me and many other people in public, saying that he was a veteran, that he was a Navy SEAL, and it was all a big lie.
1 minute.
Now we deal with a manufacturing scandal, we deal with all this other drama, but what I want the people here to know is that better men than Bill Hayden stood up and died against a lot meaner enemy. Do not be afraid to stand up for what you believe is right. And no con artist, blogger, or no opportunistic Confederate looking to gain advantage is going to intimidate me or any other American in this county. Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you again for that resolution.
Can you say your name and
Steve Salvaggio, Hopakma. Tonight I'm speaking in honor of my grandparents, whom both were war veterans, and the issue at hand, Commissioner Bill Hayden in Stolen Valley. I just want to say I'm so disappointed that he's not here tonight. Looking forward all day to confronting Bill, but I guess he called out again. But I'll be back. A few weeks ago, it was reported and verified that Bill Hayden never served in any branch of the military, which he told numerous people he was a Navy SEAL, including myself. My grandfather on my mother's side served in the French Army in World War II and was a prisoner of war for a few years, then immigrated to America. My other grandfather on my father's side was a Marine and served in Korea, where he received the Purple Heart for his service. Lying about your military service is the most despicable thing you can do, which I don't get. Bill was a big reason why I got involved with politics years ago. His work ethic and the way he reached people was actually remarkable. But it makes me sad the platform he ran on was all fake. All the veterans, past and present, made the ultimate sacrifice for their country, whether they enlisted or drafted years past. You make a mockery of it by lying. Bill, I know you're listening, Bill. You're going to listen to it tomorrow. You need to do your colleagues a favor and the county a favor and resign immediately. No coming back from this whatsoever. And another suggestion is use caution with these food pantry allegations. There's no investigation going on, as the Senator Doug Steinhardt alluded to last week. It's not a good look and could deter future and current volunteers. Lastly, I want to take a moment to thank all the veterans that are here for your service and who are in the crowd tonight. Again, thank you for your service. It's so appreciated. Thank you very much. Thanks for letting me speak, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Hi there, I'm Gail Just. I live in Layton, and I was here last meeting, but I got cut off because my speech was more than 3 minutes. So I'm back today to finish my speech, and I'm not sure where I left off. But I do believe that I got as far as going through the food pantry issue that Bill Hayden was talking about, that it was totally done wrong from the very beginning, because it should have been investigated not by him, not by anybody, or making the comments here at the commissioners' meeting. It should have been investigated by the state police and or the prosecutor's office long before it came here. I forgot to tell you, I'm a retired New Jersey state trooper, so I know what I'm talking about. It should have been investigated there. Okay, so that part's finished. As far as Bill and the stolen valor goes, you know, I had a very long talk with him the night of Jack Citarelli's run for governor against Murphy, and I don't know what date that was, and I'm not sure what year. But he and I and several members from the Skylands Republican, Skylands Tea Party, went down to attend the party. When I left, we were winning. When I got home, we weren't. So my point here is I had time to talk to him, and he told me over and over again that, hey, I was a Navy SEAL, I was in Rhodesia, I was wounded, I saved my entire squad, I received the highest medal of honor that the country gives. I mean, I'm thinking, all the stuff I did in the state police, I didn't do any of that stuff. He is so much better of a person. And I was very impressed with him, as I have had other conversations with him. Now I want to get to the other conversations, of which I feel very embarrassed that I actually fell for his con, truly, because I really am smarter than that. So, back several years ago, when he was running for commissioner...
1 minute.
Oh, shit. So back several years ago, when he was running for commissioner at the Skylands Tea Party meeting, he said to me, I'm collecting donations for my run for commissioner. So I wrote him a check. Wells Fargo check 2207, written to Hayden for commissioner. Hayden for commissioner, he told me that he was a veteran. That's the only reason I gave him the money. I've done some checking. It is unethical for Bill Hayden to collect campaign money or contributions based on a falsehood that tells that you were a veteran. So to take the money under these certain conditions violates the ethics laws, to which he indeed never did serve as a veteran. And if he did, if he's not guilty, then when I report him tomorrow to the Ethics Bureau for me giving him this check, they can figure out if he has the DD-214, and I want my $100 back.
Thank you.
Gail, before you walk away, I want to thank you for your service to the state and your career with the New Jersey State Police. Thank you.
Well, thank you. But I want to tell you that my uncle under World War II was held prisoner for years.
Wow.
And my son is in Syria as of tomorrow. Syria.
Ken Collins, Andover Township. I had no idea that there was going to be anybody here from Stillwater. So first I want to thank you guys for the Veterans Resolution. And second, I want to voice my support for the issue in Stillwater with the temporary traffic light that needs to be removed as soon as possible, and some other solution needs to go in there, because I drive through there every single day and I see accidents that are about to happen all the time. And what he said about the noise outside that gentleman's house, it's literally from 10 feet outside there. The road's right there, right outside his front door. The trucks are sitting there idling. I came here tonight to address Commissioner Hayden, who's not present, and demand his resignation, which I will continue to do until Mr. Hayden resigns. I want to thank you for censuring him, and I urge you all to twist all the arms it takes to secure Mr. Hayden's resignation without further delay, as I personally advised him to do before tonight's meeting. But since you said there were no resignations, apparently he didn't do that. Pretending to be a veteran is as despicable as it gets. Without question, almost nobody in this room, except for the 7 people who are facing me right now and the 2 police at the entrance, were even aware of what my t-shirt says tonight, until Mr. Steinhardt chose to bring it to the attention of literally everyone in this room. There was no disruption until Mr. Steinhardt chose to cause a disruption. My t-shirt did not cause any disruption whatsoever. Free speech is protected by the United States Constitution, and the use of the words on my t-shirt are protected free speech as defined by the United States judicial system. I would like to thank Mr. Steinhardt for making sure everyone saw my t-shirt and knows exactly what it said, and for giving me a valid reason to sue him for violating my civil rights. Thank you, and have a good night.
Thank you for your service, and I was also very distracted by your shirt, so that was another reason why you were asked to cover it. So.
Jim Baldini, Sandiston. I'm not going to speak long. I just wanted to say, enough has been said about Bill. Time to put him behind us, time for him to resign. Things are clearly out there that need to be done. I am going to add something about the food pantry, though. I've worked in the food pantry, volunteered. My family's been there, my daughter.
Can you talk louder? We can't hear you.
Sure. My daughter, my son, my entire family has been down in the food pantry as a volunteer. And I would tell you that they do some damn fine work. And to disparage it in this way is, I like sunlight. If there really is such a thing as something needing to be investigated, fine. But this is a separate issue than Bill. And a lot of people want to put them together, and they're not together. They're 2 separate issues. You've got to step down. The reality is, the information is out there. It's not rumors. Plenty of people, including myself, have had this conversation and heard this conversation with him. So I think that at this point, he should be the person in the room to do the right thing. But like I said, we should put him behind us. And please make sure that we continue to support the food pantry in every way that we can, because, like I said, they do damn fine good work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Glenn Hull, Sanderson Township. I'm bringing up the broadband issue, and I spoke to Mr. Carney about it last night. Is there an application for this grant?
I am not the director, and this is not Q&A.
So there's no application?
It's comments. It's your public comment. I'm not going to
Sorry.
batter about
Well, I would like, if there is, I would like to have it considered. I'm just understanding, I don't understand why Sussex County is applying for a broadband grant. Are you going to do the work yourself, applying this broadband? And I don't know what you mean by broadband. I'd like to have an explanation of it. You keep saying broadband.
Yeah, this is just for your comments, not for questions to the board.
Well, all right, I'm commenting. The county should express themselves on what broadband is. Is it 4th generation, 5th generation, is it 6th generation? We're past 3rd, so that's why I mentioned these 3 generations, 4th, 5th, and 6th. You're talking about, is this a transmitter that's going to be put on telephone poles, 5G, or what? I would like to know, because there is dangers in certain broadband. It's microwave. Not everybody wants broadband. So my point is you keep talking broadband, and there's no explanation of it. The term broadband is general. It doesn't mean anything. So let's have an explanation of what it is. And why are we bringing it? The statement was people don't have internet last night. That's false. That is false. That was a false statement, Mr. Clark. You blew it. There's all kinds of internet in this county, and it comes by copper wire, and it comes by fiber optic, and it comes by cable wire, and it comes by solar. So, you know, I don't understand why this push for this. I think it's $6 million. That was a number that was thrown out. So I think the county needs to have an explanation to the people. So I want
1 minute.
Pardon me?
1 minute.
All right, thank you. So if we're going to talk broadband, let's be specific. Let the people know what is being presented, what's being, encouraged on this county by this commission. You understand what I'm saying? Can you get that out to the public now? I think an explanation is needed of what you mean by it and what you're presenting to the people. Can you understand it, Jack? So, all right? Very good. So, yeah, what do I have left?
25 seconds.
5 seconds? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Director,
Yes.
if I may, not to bounce it back and forth. As I told you last night, Glenn.
Pardon me? I'm sorry, partial deaf, I'm sorry.
I'm just giving you my comment now. I'm not asking for you to return the comment. Like I said to you last night at the meeting, I'd be more than happy to talk to you on a side note.
Okay.
I said to everybody in public before, we have a meeting on Friday, so I could educate myself a little bit more. So once that happens, I will be more than happy to give it to everybody in the room. I am very, very transparent. Again, I'm not looking for your comment.
Could I go to the meeting?
I am not looking for your comment. I'm just telling you what I'm willing to do.
Could I go to the meeting?
You cannot come to our meeting.
I cannot.
That's all I have to say. Thank you, Director.
Thank you. Okay, we're ready.
Tammy Quashis, Byram Township. Not all of Sussex County has good internet. I'm just going to say that. I'm in Byram. My husband works from home. We have very few options with what our internet provider is. Very few alternatives. And working from home, he gets dropped from his meetings. Believe it or not, we still have a landline. When the landline rings, the internet goes out. We've had people there, I don't even know how many times, so it actually is a problem in the county. So that's just all I wanted to say. I applaud this being looked at, so thank you.
Do you have inferior internet? You still have time. Do you have inferior internet, or do you not have it?
Sir, we don't do that. It's not a Q&A.
No. Sorry. Okay. Anyone else for the good of Sussex County? Okay. Can I get a motion to close the floor for public comment and return to regular business?
So moved.
Okay. Deputy Director Carney makes a motion and a second.
Second.
Commissioner Schick, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Number 23, reminders. Please check the county's website at www.sussex.nj.us for meeting schedules. And number 24 is adjournment. Can I get a motion?
Director, just one on the reminder, because I know when I was director, I always forgot a lot of things. The 16th, I didn't mean to insult you if I did, I apologize. The 16th is our parade in Newton.
Oh, yes, yep.
So-
You forgot that in your commissioner comments then.
Touche. What time is the parade?
You should know. I'm not telling. 11 a.m. is the
So
parade.
everybody should show up and you go throw beads or whatever you guys will do. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting? Okay, Deputy Director Carney and Commissioner DeGroot. All in discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
End of meeting.
Way to go, Jack.